folks. I'm by myself. Maurice is traveling. This is going to be a super condensed version of what we normally do on the MOJO show. I'm going to run down the games the week that was. This is also coming up a little bit later. We got delayed. We tried to make this work with Maurice's travel. Couldn't make it work. So I'm just going to run through this, but I do have his picks. I don't know if I have I might have a hot take. This might be a hot take. What he sent me might be a hot take, but I do have his picks, and some of the dialogue is obviously just going to be a one-way conversation with me and you. Thursday night, we had the Bears over the Panthers. I don't have his picks in front of me. We actually should combine those so we can look at them. I had the Panthers. I don't know why I was drinking that Kool-Aid. I didn't really have much faith in the Bears. But they were at home, primetime, another shit primetime game, 16-13. I feel like the primetime games, the Thursday night games, the Sunday night, the Monday night, I mean, I could be wrong, but I always think of it like there's not a lot of fucking scoring in those games. And even, granted, the 4 primetime games this week, none of them were fucking stellar anyway, so maybe that's why there was also low scoring. But 16-13, Bears over the Panthers. It was a crapshoot anyway, but I took the Panthers. Then we go to Germany. Germany, I picked the Colts over the Patriots. They won 10-6. Dog shit fucking game. Again, I think it's like you get two teams that aren't necessarily good, but I feel like the Colts at least can put up points. I'm not a fan of the Europe games. Sorry. Not a fan. I'm not a fan of Thursday night games typically because of the players and the short weeks, and I'm not a fan of the Germany-London games. I like the novelty of if you're a Patriots fan, you wake up 9:30, you get to watch the game this week. It's over by 12. You can have the rest of your day. I do like that, but it's also like I think the product that you get with the travel and everything, to me, it's just like it's subpar, and I think it's just a money grab. But Colts 10-6 over the Patriots. There was a couple horrible picks. I also don't understand. I wish he was here. To talk about this, but the benching Mac at the end, like, what did that really do? What I just don't understand what that really did. On the last fucking drive, I mean, I don't know, like, and what you're getting from Zappy isn't much better, and you could argue that Zappy's not getting enough of he's getting thrown in bad situations because he's basically like, hey, come in because this guy's screwing the pooch here, so come in. He's not getting enough reps, but I think what you're getting out of Zappy isn't much better versus some of these other teams. They'll have their backup come in and they're doing fairly well. I don't get it. That Mac pick was fucking. I don't know. If you saw it, you saw it. It was just a weird lob to nobody. Like the receiver wasn't even looking. Didn't seem like he didn't throw it hard enough to even get it out of the end zone if he was going to throw it away. I don't know what he was doing there. I think that's part of the hot take. Part of the hot take, I believe, I could be wrong here, but he didn't actually specify this was the hot take, but Mac's last interception was a career ender. I just don't know what they do. I think Mac's in a bad situation because he doesn't have a cast. They don't have much of an offensive line. I don't know if he has the best decision making, but then there's times where he does make good throws and his receivers are dropping the ball. So, and I was just saying this the other day. It's like when you're 2-8, there is enough blame to go around. So you can pick who you want to get mad at the most. At the end of the day, you can get mad at Belichick if you want. You can get mad at Mac if you want. You can get mad at the receivers, but I think that when you're 2-8, there's blame to go all around. There's plenty of blame to go around. So, I just don't know what they do with him either. He's in year 3. He's got 1 year left on his deal. I just don't think he's the answer. I think he gets another shot somewhere else. I don't know if New England decides to try to trade him going into his. But he ain't going to get much for him anyway. What are you going to get for Mac at this point? 6th rounder? Maybe? I don't know. even the Belichick thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily him, although him is the GM. People have talked about that's kind of a problem. I'm not really a fan of the coaches being the GMs. It's really not panning out for them now. And I think, like, again, you could argue, well, Brady left and you know, but at the same time, I think the team itself is much worse. Like, even if Brady was there, they might be a little bit better, but I mean, they don't have a good fucking team. That's why when Washington played them last week, it's like, talent for talent, Washington's the better team, talent-wise. That doesn't mean much because you can still get beat, and they almost did get beat. But I think talent-wise, New England is reeling. So, and my guess is that Belichick will take the blame, and I think in people's Patriots fans' minds, getting rid of Belichick is like a complete overhaul. Like now we're over it. So it's like, maybe because Belichick's still there's this like lore of the Super Bowls and all the success that they did have at one point, and I think maybe some fans would just rather say, fuck it, Brady's gone, he's retired. A lot of these other guys are gone. We're like, let's just start over. Whether it's Belichick's fault or not, let's just do a complete overhaul. And I get that too, because Washington does that every 4 years. Next game, Texans and the Bengals. I pleasantly surprised. The Texans pulled that one out. Stroud, 356, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Singletary had 30 carries, 150, touchdown. A little bit of, it was kind of surprising because since he came off the bye and they looked like they were kind of going again. But shout out to the Texans, man. I like it. I really like it. I like the coach. I like the quarterback. I like the fact that they needed some hope. And it seems like they found it now. So they won 30-27 over the Bengals. It's a big win. I think as of now they do have a playoff spot. They ought to have a wild card spot in the AFC. So shout out to the Texans. Moving on, the Vikings and the Saints. My boy Dobbs, baby, comes in, gets another win for the Vikings. Right, he didn't start last week, but he came in. They got the win. He started this one, got the win, 268 and a touchdown. The kid's been there for a fucking week and a half. He's got 2 wins. So shame on Arizona. But anyway, Carr also got hurt in that game too. Concussion and shoulder. I don't know. It's like in the offseason when they had Carr was up to get traded. Jimmy G and Washington was talking about some of these guys. I'm like, man. I don't know. I'm not sold. I mean, they're both good, but they're both always fucking hurt. And I don't know. I wouldn't be throwing big dollars at one of them two. I would rather just have a younger kid and try to develop him. Pretty much what we're doing with Howell at this point. So shout out Dobbs, man. I just, for a guy who's bounced around, he was with Cleveland like twice or something in this offseason, got traded to Arizona. He balled. Well, to me, he balled out for a team that was fucking 1-8 when they traded him. I think he balled out. He's like the only one fucking trying. From what I saw, and Connor was out. Like he had the chips stacked against him, I think, and then gets traded to Minnesota. Kirk's out for the season. They're trying to make a run here. Gets 2 wins in a week and a half. I like it, man. I hope he gets paid in the offseason because he's got something. Even if he's not going to start for you, like I would love to have him come off the bench if he needs to. Next one, Pittsburgh and Green Bay. Sorry, Pittsburgh wins 23-19. Again, fucking. There's no expectations for the Steelers, and they're 6-3. I don't know how the fuck they do it. Tomlin does it every year. He makes them competitive, and I think Maurice brought it up one of those weeks. It's like they're always there. They're always fucking there. And for them to be 6-3 right now, like quietly 6-3, and I think they had a couple games where they could have won and lost. I mean, they're playing a lot better than I expected anyway. Green Bay on the road, 3-6, 1-4 on the road. Jordan Love went 289, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. I don't know. I don't know what they do. And there's even talk about LaFleur getting fired. I don't know. I don't know if that's the problem. Again, he's been in the system. I think the bar is so high because it's like, Rodgers was on the bench when they drafted him, when they had Brett Favre. He was in the system. He came in. He did what he did. Maybe the expectation is that like Jordan Love is going to do the same thing. Maybe he just needs more active playing time than Rodgers did. You know what I mean? You never know. So I don't know. Be interesting to see what they do. 3-6. They're going to get a high draft pick. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But again, I think we talked about it early on this season too. All right. We talked about it early this season that the Packers didn't look good last year either. Like they weren't really that good of a team. And Rodgers pulled a horseshoe out of his ass and realistically should have beat Detroit and should have made the playoffs last year. And they looked dead in the water at one point. And they really should have made the playoffs, but that's more about probably Aaron Rodgers than, the team itself. So then you have a kid like Jordan Love. He comes in his first season starting. I guess, what do you expect, really? Next game, the Titans at Tampa Bay. And I was back on the Baker train for this one. I don't know why. I just felt like they would break the streak. They were at home. Baker went 278, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Mike Evans, 6 catches, 143, and a touchdown. My boy Levi Jeans, though, I picked him up in one of my fantasy leagues, and after he had his big game, he's done nothing. And I get it; he's a rookie. What do you expect? But I picked him up. I thought he was the hot hand, and 2 weeks in a row, he's gotten me like less than 10 points. So I really gotta switch that up. 49ers over the Jaguars, 34-3, and I believe Maurice had the Jaguars in this game. I root for their success. I just didn't. I was going with the matchup, but I was also going with like the Niners breaking their streak. I think they lost 3 in a row, and I'm like, Jacksonville's good, but I feel like the 49ers are a more talented, balanced team. So 296 for Brock Purdy, 3 touchdowns. McCaffrey ended his streak of without a touchdown, so 16 carries, 95 yards. Kittle had 3 catches, 116, and a touchdown. So big win for them. I mean, the Jaguars are they're a playoff team too, and 34-3, it was not fucking close. One of the surprises, I think I lost 4 games this week, all with last-second field goals, and this was one of them. The Browns over the Ravens, 33-31. I don't know how many people picked Cleveland in this game. It's a division game. It is tough. But the Ravens had the hot hand. So it's like every time there's a team, like a few weeks ago, it was the 49ers. They looked untouchable. The Ravens were quietly 7-2, and it's like they looked like they were the team to beat. And then they get beat. So it's like, I don't know. They're 7-3. The Browns 6-3. Lamar Jackson, that pick 6, I think, fucking killed them. But yeah, they went on a last-second field goal, 33-31. I had the Falcons over the Cardinals. I lost that game. Kyler's first game back, 249, a pick. And ever since Maurice said Kyler looks like a little kid that stole something when he runs, now, as he said, he can't unsee it. Now I can't unsee it because I was laughing hysterically at some of the runs yesterday. But Cardinals back in the win column. Kyler gets a win, 25-23. I think Heineke got hurt in this game too. Don't quote me on that. I thought I saw he got hurt in this game. Falcons are 4-6, 1-4 on the road. I don't know. I mean, they benched Ritter. They put Heineke in. I think Arthur Smith might be on the outs with them. I mean, they're not. I don't know. They're 4-6. So was Washington. I don't know. I don't know what direction they're going into. So, and my Joker pick of the week. The streak is the streak. Biatch. No, that was a biatch. No, that's the Joker one. I want a sad one though. Nope. There's no sad ones. So we'll go with the biatch. My Joker pick of the week. I was getting a little fucking ballsy here because I was undefeated with that. I had the Chargers over the Lions. My Joker pick was the Lions to lose that game. They went on a last-second field goal, 41-38. I mean, I had a shot there. It's not like they got fucking blown out. I was, it was a 4-4 team versus a 6-2 team, and I was being a little ballsy. almost won it. I don't know if Maurice sided with me on that one or he went with the Lions. But again, a last-second field goal, that fucked me. The Cowboys over the Giants, 49-17. Dak had 404, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Again, celebrate all you want because the Giants are on they're starting Danny DeVito, who's like their third fucking string, off the couch. They're beating up on them. They're all celebrating 49 points. And whatever. I mean, those are teams that you're supposed to beat when you're fucking 5-3 or 6-3, whatever the fuck they were. You were at home. But again, I feel like it just gets inflated because, Dallas 49-17, they blew them out. It's like they can't. They are the Dolphins of the NFC. They can't beat anybody that's legit. When they played the 49ers, they got their ass kicked. Philly beat them. I think Dallas can hang with I think they can beat most of the teams, but the elite teams or what we consider the elite teams, I don't think they have it. But, whatever. Dak's got 2 playoff wins in his career, and he's getting a lot of fucking money for it. So, but Cowboys win 6-3. They're 4-0 at home. Whatever. I'm just waiting for that Thanksgiving game. We'll see who Maurice picks for that one, too. But then I had my Washington Brave Redskin Commanders football team. I picked them on the road. They had it. They had a shot. They legitimately had a shot. They lost 29-26. Again, a last-second field goal. That was the 4th one that fucked me. What do I say about this without ranting too long? The defense is a problem. Washington's defense is just a fucking problem. They have given up the most points in the league. They're 4-6. I think people kind of get lost in Howell's performance, which he is doing good. The sacks have settled down, although I think that Seattle got like 4 of them yesterday on Sunday. A little bit more sacks than we've seen the last couple weeks, but he's playing better. I think the offense they changed up the offensive line a little bit. I think some of the plays are instead of doing the long developing plays, you see that they're doing a little bit more bubble screens, which I don't love, but they're doing a lot more with the checkdowns, right? And that paid off a couple times yesterday with Robinson. But the defense is just fucking terrible. And it's my friend Greg, shout out Greg, mentioned the other day, he said, your take before the season that Washington would have a top 5 defense did not age well. That might have been one of my worst takes. I think talent-wise, it's because they've invested more in their defense than they have their offense. So talent-wise, with that line before the trades and everything, like, all right, Chase is coming back. Sweat had a good year. Deron Payne had a great year last year. Jonathan Allen always shows up, We drafted Emmanuel Forbes. They were pretty high on him. And granted, I think he'll pan out, but they've put more emphasis on their defense, and the talent-wise, the guys that they had, I assumed would have been a top 5 fucking defense. But it's bad. I mean, they're 4-6. Again, there's just not many. Their schedule, there's not many more winnable games. So I think my take on this was a game you should have won, even though Seattle's 6-3. They're a playoff team. You should have won this one, A, because it was close, and B, I think they're a beatable team. They just got their ass kicked last week. The Giants game you should have won in Chicago. Now you talk about, instead of being 4-6, you're 7-3. You have to win those games. Like I just said about the Cowboys, they beat up on bumps, but they win those games enough to get to the playoffs. So if you're not beating up on the bums, how the fuck are you supposed to beat the other good teams? So they still have to play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. They got to play the Cowboys again. They have to play the Giants, which Giants suck. They're playing them on Sunday, but it's a division game. You never know what can happen. They got to play Miami. They have to play San Francisco. So they have to go to New York, which, again, the Aaron Rodgers-less Jets, but it doesn't matter because you have to go to New York for that game on Christmas Eve. There's just not many more winnable games. I think your bright spot here in this season is you got a new owner. You have a quarterback that obviously you feel confident in, even though early on people were shitting on him. And it's like, I don't think it's him. I think he's got the talent. They just he needs to get those reps in. They need to change the offense and cater it more to his ability and our offensive line not being fantastic. So in the offseason, I hope that they put more emphasis into their offensive line. I think that's your bright spot. I mean, you got a top 10, 11, 12 draft pick at the moment. They're still not completely out of it. It's just I don't know. There's a lot of games that your winnable games are in the past. If you were 7-3 at this point and you couldn't beat the good teams like Dallas, but Dallas is going to make the playoffs. So that's the difference there. The Sunday night game, the Raiders and the Jets. I picked the Raiders 16-12. Not much of a game, really. But the Raiders 2-0 since firing McDaniels. So, but I heard that on another podcast too, and they're right. They're 2-0, but it's also their scheduling. It's like if they were playing the Chiefs, I don't think that they would have won that game, and I don't think they will. But 16-12. Jets 4-5. Not completely out of it, but it's tough. Zach Wilson, 263, one pick. Not much of a game there. Monday night, which we usually never get to report on the Monday night because we're recording on Monday night and the game's going on at this time. But the Broncos with the fucking win, 24-22 over Buffalo at Buffalo. Russell Wilson, 193, 2 touchdowns. I watched the first half of this game and it seemed like Josh Allen was just kind of letting it go. They had 2 turnovers on the first 2 drives. They had a fumble. They had a pick, which really, I mean, he kind of threw the first pick that was thrown on the second drive. He was out. He stepped out of bounds, but it was still like a bad ball that was thrown. And then right after that, so that was like more on him. Obviously, he was out of bounds, so it didn't count. And then the next one that he actually threw was a tip ball. So it's like, is it me or are you seeing a lot of drop balls in the league this season? I don't know if it's just this recency thing or whatever. Like I feel like every game these fucking receivers are getting paid all this money. And I hate to be that guy, but it's like I don't know. Maybe it's me. I'm seeing a lot of drop balls around the league, and it's like they lead to these interceptions or they lead to these 3 and outs. And it's one thing if the quarterback's not putting the ball in the right spot. Like again, even with Mac, I think is half the problem, and then the other half of the problem is with their, aside from the offensive line, is like sometimes he throws a bad ball and he overthrows his receivers, and then there's times where the guys are fucking dropping the balls. So it's like, I don't know, I just see a lot of drop balls across the league. The bye week teams this week were the Kansas City Swifts, the Rams, Dolphins, and Eagles. And let me see. Maurice had some input on specifically, he wanted to say, quote unquote, screw Fox for not switching away from the Cowboys game when they were up by almost 50. Fair point. If it's a blowout game and you're on the local, switch it out to a more competitive fucking game. I mean, if it was me, I'd probably be pissed if they switched it. Like if Washington was up big and they switched it, I'd be pissed. But I also understand it from the standpoint of like, switch it to a more competitive game. If you're winning by that much, switch the game. So he did text me during that. He said the only games that he could really watch this week, maybe he watched the Sunday night game. I'm not sure, and maybe last night, but I don't know. So he got in last night kind of late, so maybe he didn't. But he watched the Patriots game and he watched the Cowboys game, and he was not happy about watching the Cowboys game because it was a fucking blowout. But I think also it's because of the Giants being local for us that they're always going to play the fucking Giants. All right. I don't remember which one that was. I also don't have a Mo's money pick. Oh, nope. I lied. He put it in there, that motherfucker. I was going to say. All right, so now it's time to make the picks. Picks for week 11. This is a very quick one. It's just me. Thursday night. Finally a good fucking Thursday night game. Cincinnati at Baltimore. Spread on this one's 3.5. Baltimore's favored by 3.5. Man. That's a fucking good game, man. That's a good fucking game. I didn't think either of them was going to lose last week. It's just so close. I'm going to go Baltimore. Ugh. The problem is, too, I mean, Chase played. Higgins was out last week. I'm going to go with the Ravens, though. The Ravens, I mean, it's not like the Browns are fucking terrible that they beat, the Ravens, but it's too close to call. I am going to go with the Ravens of Baltimore, and Maurice also picked the Ravens of Baltimore. Next game, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Cleveland is favored by 3.5. Another fucking close. I might go with the Browns. I'm gonna go with the Browns on this one because I think that they're riding a high off that win against the Ravens. So I'm gonna go with the Browns. Maurice also picked the Browns in this game. I'm making my pick and then I'm looking at his after just to see. So there's no bias here. Chicago at Detroit. I'm not even gonna fucking play with this one. I'm going with the Lions. Lions and the Bears. Yep, Maurice has the Lions as well. The Chargers and the Packers. Packers are at home. Chargers are favored by 3. I'm going to go with the Chargers here. And this is Mo's money pick. Mo's money pick of the week. The Chargers over the Green Bay Packers. 3-point spread. He is taking the Chargers. I'm going to assume that he did his due diligence and actually placed a bet, which he usually does. I gotta jump ahead and find a Joker pick here. Who's my Joker pick? Interesting. We actually got some good primetime games this week coming up, which is better than the ones we had this week. This week they were not good. Raiders at Miami. Miami's favored by 12. They usually beat up on bums. I will continue that streak and pick the Dolphins. And Maurice also, I would imagine that he picked the Dolphins, but I don't see it here. I think he missed this game. Did he miss this game? No, he picked the Raiders. Raiders? The Raiders over the Dolphins. Okay. All right. I like it. Fuck it. There's always going to be an upset. Every week there's an upset. Washington at home against the Giants. Washington's favored by 9.5. Giants are on their third stringer. I'm going to go with the Redskins. Maurice also, he picked the Salamanders on that one. Dallas at Carolina. 10.5-point favorites. Dallas is 10.5-point favorites. I'm going to go with the Cowgirls. They like to beat up on the bums. Maurice also has the Cowgirls on that one. The Titans at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's favored by 6.5. This could be one of those fucking games. I'm going to go with the Jaguars because I never do. But that could be a game where if Will Levi Jeans shows up, you never know. You never know. Maurice picked the Jaguars as well. Cardinals at the Texans. Oh, dude, I hope the Texans fucking stomp on them. I hope they fucking stomp on them. Houston is favored by 4 in that game. I hope they fucking get dicked around in that game. Oh, I lost it. Did he pick the Cardinals? He picked the Cardinals. Picked the Cardinals. Well, Kyler's back. Fuck him. Fuck Arizona. But he picked the Cardinals in that game. At 4:05, you get the Bucks at the 49ers. Fucking A. 49ers with an 11.5-point spread. My God. I'm going with the Niners, but I mean, I just feel like that's a big spread for that game. Bucks aren't that good, but still. And Maurice also picked the 49ers in that game. Seahawks at the Rams. Seattle favored by 1. Sheesh. What do the Rams do? Is Stafford gonna play? I know they signed Wentz. Even more of a reason to go with the Seahawks on the road. With the Seahawks on the road. Maurice also has the Seahawks in that game. Minnesota at Denver. And you know what? Fuck it. Not a great Joker pick versus last week, but because the Broncos beat the Bills on Monday night and they're favored by 2.5, my boy Dobbs on the road, fucking 2-0 with the Vikings. My Joker pick of the week is the Broncos. I think Dobbs is going to fucking stomp on them. I hope anyway. And Maurice picked the Vikings as well. Shout out Dobbs. Monday night, Monday night's a good one. Potential Super Bowl matchup again. Eagles and Chiefs. Chiefs were on a bye last week. They're at home. 3-point favorite. Man, that's a good one. That's a good one. Because I really, as it's 7-2, they're 4-1 at home. Still not sold that the Chiefs offense is like rolling. Philly's 8-1. Chiefs 7-2. Philly's also 4-1 on the road. I mean, that's a fucking good game. I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Swifts because they're at home. Plus I figure Swifty will be in the crowd, and Maurice is picking the Eagles on that one. I like it. So we differ on a couple games. That one, he picked the Cardinals, and there was another one somewhere mixed in there. Anyway, sorry. Bye week teams. The Falcons, the Colts, the Patriots, and the Saints, they're all on a bye in week 11. I believe we'll be back up and running again next week. Maurice was traveling this week. This is a super short, super fast solo episode. So if you listen all the way through, thank you. Appreciate you guys listening. When you do listen, also comment. Give me the hot take. I want to hear the hot takes. I want to hear your hot takes of the week. We have Jess's hot takes. I want to hear your hot takes as well. This audio the audio goes up on Tuesdays typically. This week we're a day out. I would assume the audio will be up today, a little bit later, right? So it's Tuesday. Usually it's before noon. The video will be up on YouTube, I would imagine, sometime tonight. So we're a little bit delayed, not by a full day, but schedules and travel and shit happens. Anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe. Maurice will be back next week. We'll have a beer of the week. We'll do some fantasy corner, and we'll make our picks. So until next week.